Ruthless, reckless, and remembered. Meet the dirtiest players in NFL history. When players push the limits of the game, they create some of the most unforgettable and often controversial moments in NFL history. Today, we're talking about the dirtiest players in football history. These players made headlines not just for their talent, but for their ruthless tactics on the field. They pushed the limits of what was acceptable, leaving behind a legacy that still sparks debate. Get ready for the most controversial moments and dirtiest players in the NFL. Steve Smith, the feisty future Hall of Famer. Steve Smith wasn't just a star on the field, he was a force that couldn't be ignored. Known for his incredible skill and fiery passion, he played with a level of intensity that made him a standout player. But in 2002, during a training camp fight with teammate Anthony Bright, that passion turned dangerous. In a shocking moment, Smith broke Bright's orbital bone, showing just how far his drive to win could go. This incident raises an important question. How far is too far when your passion goes beyond the game? While Smith's relentless fire helped make him a legend, it also led to moments where things went too far. Let's take a closer look at this unforgettable event and explore the balance between intensity and control in one of the NFL's most passionate players. Richard Sherman, the trash talker with a violent side. Richard Sherman wasn't just one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. He was a master of the mental game. With his elite skills and sharp trash talk, Sherman became known not just for his performance on the field, but for getting into the heads of his opponents. But it was his unforgettable moment in the 2013 NFC Championship when he clashed with Michael Crabtree. Sherman took his game and his words to another level. Sherman didn't just talk, he backed it up with one of the most ruthless and memorable statements in NFL history. His rivalry with Crabtree wasn't just about football, it was personal. Sherman thrived on the mental battle, but the real question is, did he take it too far? Let's break down this iconic moment and see if Sherman's trash talk was simply confidence or something a little more controversial. Roy Williams, the safety who changed the game, for better or worse. Roy Williams wasn't just making tackles. He was changing the game with every hit. His infamous horse-collar tackle became a turning point in NFL history. Before Williams, the move wasn't even considered dangerous, but after a few brutal hits, including one that broke Terrell Owens' leg, the NFL had no choice but to rewrite the rulebook. Sometimes, a player's impact is measured by more than just stats. It's how they force the game to evolve, whether they meant to or not. Williams didn't just deliver big tackles. He delivered hits that made you cringe. His style was effective, but it pushed the boundaries of what was acceptable in the sport. Was Roy Williams a game changer, or just a player who went too far? Let's take a closer look at how his controversial tackles shaped the NFL and what they really mean for the game today. Terrell Suggs, the killer instinct. Terrell Suggs didn't just play football. He lived and breathed the game with an intensity that made him a nightmare for any opponent, especially the Pittsburgh Steelers. When Suggs stepped onto the field, it wasn't just about winning, it was about dominating. His attacks on quarterbacks, particularly Ben Roethlisberger, were calculated, relentless, and terrifyingly effective. But what happens when that drive to win crosses a line? When Suggs made it clear he wanted to hurt Roethlisberger, it wasn't just about the game anymore. It became personal. Suggs thrived on the win-at-all-costs mentality, and sometimes that meant pushing boundaries with his brutal hits and psychological warfare. Was he a defensive genius, or did his ruthless targeting go too far for the sport? Let's take a closer look at how Suggs' aggressive style reshaped the game and whether his fierce approach was a testament to his greatness or his willingness to cross a line. Ray Lewis, the murder mystery and the dirty hits. Ray Lewis is remembered as one of the greatest linebackers in NFL history. His hits and leadership made him a standout on the field, but his career wasn't without controversy. Beyond his incredible skills, Lewis was also involved in a murder case that would haunt him for years. Yet the biggest debate isn't just about his past, it's about how he played the game, especially as he got older. Even after his prime, Lewis was known for delivering brutal, sometimes dirty hits that left a mark on the NFL. Ray Lewis's legacy is tied to both his greatness and the darker moments that followed him. Was he just a player who played with intensity, or did his tough style cross the line? One thing's for sure, Ray Lewis made an impact that no one would forget. Rodney Harrison, the man who took no prisoners. Rodney Harrison wasn't just focused on stopping you, he was focused on making sure you felt every hit. Known as one of the dirtiest players in the NFL in both 2004 and 2006, Harrison's tackles were more than just hard. They were often head-to-head collisions that left his opponents reeling. He didn't just play football, he played it with an attitude that said, if you're not ready to get hurt, you don't belong here. Harrison's reckless style earned him a reputation that both players and fans feared. But was he just a misunderstood hard hitter? Or was he truly one of the NFL's dirtiest players? The truth is, Harrison's story is one of those rare cases where things aren't as clear-cut as they seem. Let's dive into his career and try to understand whether he was pushing the limits of the game or crossing the line. Jack Tatum, the hit that shocked the world. In 1978, Jack Tatum made a tackle that would change NFL history. When he hit Darryl Stingley during a preseason game, the hit left Stingley paralyzed from the chest down. Tatum's hit became legendary, but not for the reasons you'd expect. It showed just how dangerous football could be when the line between legal and illegal hits got blurred. Tatum's hit on Stingley wasn't just a tackle, it was a moment that shook the entire league. The incident led to new rules on helmet-to-helmet contact to protect players, but even years later, Tatum's legacy is still debated. Was he just playing in a violent era, or was he one of the NFL's dirtiest players who took things too far? Let's take a closer look at Tatum's career and the lasting impact of that fateful hit. Richie Incognito, the dirty lineman who crossed the line. Richie Incognito's story is one of the most unsettling in NFL history, not just because of his dirty play on the field, but because of his troubling behavior off it. In 2013, Incognito became the center of a bullying scandal involving his own teammate, Jonathan Martin. This controversy overshadowed his aggressive playing style, but it also showed just how far Incognito would go to assert his power, both on and off the field. From dirty tactics during games to his behavior outside of them, Incognito's reputation was built on pushing boundaries. But the real question is, was he just a product of the NFL's intense culture, or did he take things too far, breaking the game's unwritten rules along the way? Let's dive into Incognito's career and see how his actions have left a lasting mark on the NFL. Ndamu Kongsu, the Intimidator. Ndamu Kongsu didn't just step onto the field, he struck fear into the hearts of his opponents. At 313 pounds, Su was more than just a defensive player. He was a force that seemed to always be one step away from causing chaos. His reputation for dirty play started early and only grew over time. From stomping on players to delivering late hits, Su wasn't just playing football, he was pushing the limits of the game. Su didn't just want to win, he wanted to leave a lasting impression, no matter the cost. His most infamous moments, like stomping on Aaron Rodgers' leg, made fans and players question, was Su simply a player with too much power, or was he the ultimate villain in the NFL? Vontaze Burfict, the ultimate villain. Vontaze Burfict wasn't known for his athleticism, he was known for his sheer recklessness on the field. A linebacker who made a name for himself by constantly crossing the line, Burfict became infamous for his dirty hits, late tackles, and helmet-to-helmet collisions. His most memorable and controversial moment came during a 2015 playoff game, when his hit on Antonio Brown sparked outrage, and is still remembered as one of the dirtiest in NFL history. Burfict's playing style went beyond being physical, it was often downright dirty. With over $4 million in fines and countless suspensions, his career became a cautionary tale of what happens when you're willing to break all the rules to win. Was he just a player who pushed the game to extremes? Or did he truly embody the meaning of a dirty player? Let's take a closer look at Burfict's career and the lasting impact of his reckless play.